They continue to play the blame game as the government shutdown rages on. Saturday is a big deadline. Today, SNAP benefits run out for millions of Americans. Republicans are pushing Senate Democrats to support a short-term spending bill that would immediately reopen the government, but the measure has already failed to advance 13 times. However, both sides say there are some talks underway among senators.
We're seeing more discussions. Some of the Democrats I talked to are exasperated themselves and see no real benefit politically or otherwise.
The talks will go nowhere if Republicans remain completely intransigent and resistant to any compromise on extending the health care coverage.
Well, tonight, Maryland is under a state of emergency ahead of the deadline to fund those SNAP benefits.
Yeah, more than 680,000 Marylanders could lose their food assistance when federal funding expires on Saturday. Our Lionel Donovan is in Capitol Hill right now with more on this story. And Lionel, this is a dire situation for a lot of our neighbors.
That is correct, Leslie, and Lorenzo, and is also historic as well. State leaders say this will be the first time that SNAP benefits won't be given out during a government shutdown. Today I spoke with Representative Glenn Ivey. He calls this a weaponization of much needed government programs and condemned the Trump administration. He also says this comes at a time when many people in his district are already struggling. Tonight, Maryland Governor Wes Moore declared a state of emergency over the upcoming loss of SNAP benefits for food assistance and laid the blame for the loss at the feet of the president.
Donald Trump is refusing to deploy emergency federal funding that would keep food assistance programs running during this shutdown. And by doing that, I want to be clear, he is breaking the law.
Earlier this month, the U.S. Department of Agriculture told state agencies to hold off distributing SNAP's November benefits due to, quote, insufficient funds. Nearly 42 million people rely on those funds to buy food. More than 680,000 of them live in Maryland.
Look, if they can get $40 billion and give it to Argentina, they ought to be able to, spend the money here and make sure that Americans don't go hungry.
In Congressman Glenn Ivey's 4th district, almost 13% of households receive SNAP benefits. And he says the loss of those benefits come at a time when many are already hurting due to massive federal layoffs.
Steny Hoyer and I visited a food bank site 2 days ago in Prince George's County, and it was for federal workers solely, but there were like 400 people, maybe up to 500. They went around the corner up the street.
Adenia Bradley of Mission of Love Charity says she's also seen the need for food assistance grow fast. In the past month, she said her charity had 700 additional visits.
When you see numbers like that, what goes through your mind?
It always goes through my mind that I don't ever want to turn anybody away that comes to the door. So keeping up with the demand is very important.
The governor says $10 million would be sent to food banks and their partners across the state to address food insecurity. Support that Bradley says will be critical going forward.
I think they, have to just ensure that, nonprofits and people just have the funds and the means to do the work, because the work has to get done.
Now, jurisdictions across the DMV have been setting up resources to help those in need and setting up programs to get those resources to those folks. But if you or someone you know is in need of those resources, you can head to our website, WUSA9.com, for more information on where they can be found. Live at Capitol Hill, Lionel Donovan, WUSA 9.